We're continuing to talk about children today and the needs of children, and I've got a very special guest with a very special story. This is Haley Dietrich. She's the director, I guess we would say, of Children Exceeding Expectations. Welcome, Haley. Let's talk a little bit about what this organization is before we talk about a very special trip that you and your kids just took. This is actually a school for children who are battling cancer. Is that correct?
This is a school for children battling cancer. It's not only for children battling cancer. You can have like an illness which causes you to have a very low immune system. So it can be a very rare disease or a blood condition that would cause your immune to be suppressed and not allow you to go to school.
So this was an idea that you had as a result of a customer that you couldn't serve, or you had to make special service for, is that right?
It is. We came in contact, or I guess we heard about a little boy that, he couldn't get ice cream, and we just started hearing about this child that, he couldn't come into a store one day to get ice cream, and not only that, but we heard about it at our dealership in Johnson City, and a little boy that wanted to see the lights at Christmas time. So he had cancer. He had neuroblastoma, and we wanted to help. And I actually never met this child. And so we wanted to help him. And we just thought, if there's one child like this, there has to be more than one child. And his name was Brady Newsman. And so we continued to think about this and pray about it and think, what can we do, We need a safe place, we need a clean place, and we need a place that these children can just be children.
And for a lot of these children, I guess we should explain that they're going very often through chemotherapy, things like that. Their immune systems are depressed, so they can't go into places where they may come in contact with germs, because it would, could be something that would be cold to us, could be life-threatening to them. So that's why you sought a way to kind of bring them together in an environment that they could experience school, experience dealing with other children. Is that kind of the concept of the program?
That is. When a child is going through, or an adult for that matter, when a child is going through chemotherapy, they have a very weakened immune system, and they any germ, a cold for that matter, can make them very sick, and they spend enough time in the hospital that they don't need to spend any other time that could cause them to be very sick and hospitalized for an illness. So our job is to find a place that would be a safe place that they can play and they can learn and they can socialize with other children that are just like them.
And the place you meet now is at the Bristol Motor Speedway.
That is. We meet up there on Wednesdays and Fridays for 3 hours. It's a very shortened time, but we meet up there just because they are weak. They don't have as much energy as a typical child. But when they are there, they run, they play. They are just like my children. Sometimes they might not have hair, and we talk about that, and they love it. They're beautiful and energetic, and but we talk about, when we are there, we talk about the experiences we're going through, and it might not be the typical experience that your child is going through, but it's very typical for them.
Well, they had an opportunity to take a very atypical trip to the happiest place on earth. Tell me a little bit about how that happened.
They did. Through all the funds that we raise, which every dollar that comes in, it goes right back to our families through a random act of kindness, which is what we're based upon. We took them to Disney World.
Yeah, and this was a surprise trip for the kids.
This was a huge surprise. They thought that they were spending the night at the Bristol Motor Speedway last Friday night. So they packed their bags for a lock-in, and they came up, and they also thought that they would be touring the Tri-Cities.
Yeah.
So
on a bus trip. Our Ashton Bishop was on the bus when they pulled out a week ago to make this trip. So let's hear her report on their departure for Disney World.
Let's go to a place called Walt Disney World.
A big surprise this morning for 8 sick children and their families.
I'm so excited.
a trip that's been kept a secret since November.
The kids have had absolutely no clue whatsoever, so it has been extremely hard.
All for some very deserving kids who need a little cheer.
She's wanted to go since she was 2 years old, and as a family with one income, I stay home with the kids for her, and this would not be possible. None of this would be possible.
Some of these families have never even been on a vacation before, so this will be a first family vacation for these families.
A first non-medical trip for some.
When we say trip to him, he thinks he's going to get a new cast or going for an x-ray or MRI or something, so this will be his first trip where he actually gets to go do something fun.
One little boy, Sam, wears a body cast 24/7, and for this trip, he will get to be just like all the other kids.
His doctors worked it out today so that he wouldn't have a cast on for his big trip, so he can take a bath and play in a pool and get wet and everything. So he doesn't know why he doesn't have a cast, but he's excited.
The kids were originally told they were sleeping over at the Speedway and taking a tour of the Tri-Cities.
You're not spending the night at the Bristol Motor Speedway.
Now they're on their way to the Magic Kingdom. Ashton Bishop, 19 News, Bristol.
And it turned out to be a magical trip. We're going to take a short break here. When we come back, we'll be joined by one of the parents who was on the trip as we continue our discussion with Haley Dietrich today about children exceeding expectations and a very surprise trip to Disney World. Stay with us.